So now that these boards are all done and we've went ahead and connected it to our control board and we've verified that everything works, all the LEDs work, we're going to move on to making the LEDs that go underneath the earpieces. I'll show a picture right here. So we're going to set all this other stuff aside, the boards that we made, and we're going to go grab two red LEDs. These are a 5mm, and two green LEDs. There's also 5mm. You could use diffused if you want, but it doesn't really matter that much. And then you will also need 4 of the same resistors used in the earpieces, so the same as these. Mine are 470, I believe. So yeah, you'll need 4 of these, 4 LEDs, and you'll also need some wire. So you will also need around 2 feet of 8 conductor wire. So there's 2 feet, and we're going to go ahead and split these into twos. So you will have 4 2 conductor 2 foot long wires. So once you have your 2 conductor 2 foot long individual wires here, you'll have 4 of them, 1 for each LED. Go ahead and strip off about a 1/4 inch on one side and about 1/8 of an inch on one side. Again, the length, the amount you strip doesn't really matter that much, but because you could always trim it off with wire cutters. But try to get around 1/8 and 1/4 on one side and 1/8 on the other. So now that we have these stripped, we're going to go ahead and split apart the wires. So split them apart about, I don't know, what was that, 1 inch on this side and about 1 inch on the other side. So on the side that we stripped a 1/4 inch, we're going to go ahead and twist all these wires together, as in we're going to bunch these up like so. So we have 1 conductor from each wire going to each side. And then we're going to go ahead and twist all these wires together. So once we have all these bunched together, we're going to go ahead and apply some solder to make sure these don't come apart. So now these wires are tinned. We're going to go ahead and set this aside and work on the LEDs. So we're going to go ahead and start with the green LEDs. It doesn't really matter which one you start with, as long as you remember which one is which. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the green LEDs, and we're going to go ahead and clip off the longer leg. So clip it off about a 1/4 inch from the top. So you have about 1/4 inch here to work with, and do that with the other one too. And again, that was the longer leg that you need to cut off. Okay, so the longer leg of these LEDs is cut off, and these are the green ones. So what we're going to do is solder a resistor onto each one of these legs. So to do that, just take your LED and we're going to solder a resistor on just like so. Alright, so there's 1 resistor soldered to an LED. So again, we clipped off the long lead and replaced it with a 470 ohm resistor. I'm going to go ahead and do the same with the other one. Alright, so the green LEDs are more or less ready. So we're going to go ahead and start working on the red ones. So again, clip off the longer lead and leave about a 1/4 inch of conductor so you could solder to it. So now we've soldered the resistors onto the LEDs, we're going to go ahead and set them aside. Again, try to remember which one is green, which one is red. Now back to the wires that we cut, stripped, and soldered together. So the other end of this wire is still splayed apart into the other end of this wire isn't soldered all together like this. So we're going to go ahead and grab this wire, and we're going to go trim off some of this extra stuff here, extra leads, so something like that. So you should have. And then we are going to go ahead and solder this to one of the boards. So we're going to go ahead and grab the left ear, and we're going to solder it to the back side of these pads. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and just solder it on. So you want to solder them here and here. Try not to get any solder on the... Try not to bridge these two joints when you solder. So now these are soldered to the... what is this? The left earpiece. So remember, you still have two wires coming off of here, so if you heat these for too long, these wires can come undone. So you'll have to solder those back on too. So now is the little tricky part here. So we've soldered on a plus and a minus to these wires. So these come straight from the inputs of the these wires are running off of the power that feeds this and all the other boards. So what you need to do is the left side, if you remember, it was the VCC, that's the positive terminal, and the right side is GND. So this bunch of wires, in my case, is positive, and this bunch is negative. So you will have to kind of keep track of that, because LEDs only work one way. So if you flip the polarity, they won't work. So what you'll need to do is take one of these wires, and then you're going to solder it to the LED like so. So one wire goes to the resistor and one wire goes to the LED. So you want to solder them like so. So to do that, oh, sorry, I should probably mention this. The longer lead we cut was the positive, and the shorter lead that we left uncut is the negative. So if you trace it back here, we have the VCC here, which is the positive, and in my case it's this wire, and I'm going to connect it to the resistor. So I'm just going to twist the wire around it. And then the negative, we're going to twist around the other side of the LED, the one without the resistor on it. Sorry if this is confusing. You could follow the diagram probably easier than you could follow this video. Alright, so these are twisted on. Yes, indeed it works. You flip the power, this lights up. So we're going to go ahead and apply solder here and here to keep these to keep this LED connected. And then we're going to trim off the excess. So here's one LED soldered and ready to go straight into your helmet. And now I'm going to go ahead and solder on all the other ones. It's pretty much the same technique, just trace the positive and the negative and then hook it up to the proper terminals of the LED. Alright, and with that, we are done. So every part of this kit has been assembled. It shouldn't have taken you that long. It took me maybe 3 hours to film all these segments, and including all the second takes I did. So this is an easy kit compared to the Guyman sidebar kit and the Thomas kit. So this is very doable in a day or so for you guys. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Sorry that the camera kept moving. Yeah, enjoy your kits, and just a tip, get some tape and apply it here if you have a chromed helmet, because if you mount this in your helmet and short these out, these won't work. So just a tip, go ahead and apply some electrical tape, regular tape, duct tape, masking tape, whatever. Just apply some on this chip to keep it from shorting out. And another tip is to hold these in place, just use hot glue, because it's easy to remove if you mess up, and it holds pretty strong. So yeah, thanks for watching. Follow me on Twitter at AlexPlusLEDs. Bye.